you need is the stream key code when you're going live. Then in OBS, you're going to go to settings. Then you're going to go to stream. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay, so okay, let me see if I let me screen share. Um, that's not the right one. Oh wait, OBS. Okay, so you can see my screen share over here. So right screen settings will be right over here. Do you see my screen? So you see right over here. Do you see where my arrow's hovering? Okay, you see this is where you go to settings. Okay, it's all the way near the bottom. Did you see what I pressed or no? Okay, so if you go to controls, and then you go all the way down and it says settings, just underneath studio mode. Controls, then there's underneath that is stop streaming, underneath that is start recording, underneath that is studio mode, underneath that is settings. You click settings. It then pops up, you'll just see, oh, and I'm also already on stream. You already see, you'll go to, it'll be in general, then now you'll go to stream. Now from stream, you're going to have to get the code for your show. Then you're going to have to copy that into this link. Like right now, I'm going to move these other little ones over here. Then you go over here. I can't change it because I'm already streaming. Okay, so you would just share your screen with me, and then I can just do it for you. Yeah, does that make sense? So I'm going to send you the link for the channel, and then basically you can advertise from there. And then I'll try to do a test stream for yours. You can try that, but right now I cannot even test it because right now I'm streaming. So okay, so let me just get all this other stuff sorted out. So I'll stop sharing, then I'm going to sort out all my stuff. Yes. Are you asking? You can have OBS and Zoom running at the same time. Yes, and then yes, you could try to work with a setting of Zoom where it allows you to attach a secondary camera. You just need to make sure your phone or whatever else is connected, and that it can operate in that fashion. Oh wow. Okay. Nope. Don't need that. Yeah. Just check. One thing I can say right now is there's a lot of people on the internet. No, not on our channel, just in general, because basically my stream and everything else is lagging. Okay, so do you want to talk after the rest of the stuff? Okay. All right, bye. Hello, hello, hello. We are not started yet. We have about 2 more minutes. But as you can see, I've already started some of the code. Um, and also started some of the animation. I do have another tab that I'm opening that basically you're going to be doing when we're going to be switching back and forth. We're going to be going to scratch.mit.edu. So I have one which is a little bit more advanced. I'll show you how to make the bird. We're not going to be doing exactly as the original Flappy bird because, quite frankly, that would just take a huge amount of time. So I'm going to set it. So basically, you're going to create a Flappy bird kind of bird. So thank you everyone for joining the Cathay School STEM stream. Today's topic is going to be scratch coding, creating a Flappy bird clone. For those of you who do not know about Cathay School, which I don't think there's that many, it is an internationally recognized educational institute. And is also a cultural community center and space with round the year educational programming and opportunities to showcase both cultural and educational opportunities for children and young. And also we have a early education learning center. Our core aim is to provide innovative, comprehensive educational experiences and opportunities for children and families. Great way to think about Cathay is that we are a one-stop shop for for exploring your child's interests, building their strengths, and applauding their achievements. One thing to note is now that we're in stream, I've already put it in the chat before. Please, please, please keep the chat clear just to scratch coding questions. Not it's like it's very important that basically some people who might be a little lost basically have access to information. Like I have the link all the way at the top. I've already put the link a few times before. We already have somebody else who's already put that also there. Please, please, please keep the chat clear. Yes, this is beginner, advanced, intermediate kind of course because we are cloning a whole game. But this is a much simpler game, so basically there's not too much that we have to worry about in terms of it being very, very complicated. So what I want everybody to make sure that they're doing right now is I want you to make sure that, one, you're on your account. If you signed in and you remember what you created as your login or not, if you didn't, that's fine. You can just go to File and you can load it from computer. You don't need that code necessarily. We are going to be starting with a fresh new code, so then you're going to go to the website. I'll go back to the home page. Oh, we're good. We are going to be creating the Flappy Bird. Um, we're going to be creating it from scratch. We're not going to be. There's actually no Flappy Bird. There's not going to be any kind of actual Flappy Bird little sprite. So you're going to go into create. Mine's going to take a little while to load because it's actually trying to load two different ones at the same time. So once we go there, we're going to go over to our sprite. We're going to then just change its name to Flappy Bird main. And then now we're going to go to costumes. So I'm going to delete all, so I'm going to delete this costume. I'm going to rename this Flappy Bird. And then I'm going to delete everything in here. So basically I'm going to get my big black arrow tool. And then I'm actually going to go over the whole thing. Now, some of the things, if I can keep up with chat, is I'm going to type it. So basically, and then basically you'll see me turning in the camera because basically I'm in the future. And basically it's on a buffer delay. So basically that's what you'll get. So now that I've deleted and cleared off the Flappy Bird, I'm going to take the circle. I'm going to go to my circle tool. I'm then going to grab that and just create a circle. And I'm also going to create a fill. So basically that's going to be I'm going to create my outline. If you see where my arrow is right next to fill is outline. So basically I'm going to then grab that and then create an outline. I want it to be fairly robust. So basically I'm going to make it a line thickness of 4. Then now I'm going to now grab the bucket tool. Then I'm going to go to the color. Now I'm going to create the beak, or create a beak. I'm just going to go here. And I'm making sure to hit all those 4 points. So now I'm going to check whether this is connected. And grab my big black arrow tool. I need to undo that because I didn't want to stretch it. Grab this. After I've gone to my line tool, that's just the one with the forward slash. Please let me know if you need me to stop or go back. Okay, so now I'm going to close off so basically I can fill it in with color. And go to one end. And then close it off by drawing a line to the other end. So now I've got that. I'm going to go to the bucket tool and then sample the color by hitting it where it has the red arrow or the red line right through it. In the fill, that means there's going to be no color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with color. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool right over here. Okay, so I've now sampled that color. Okay, and then now I'm going to click off of it so it drops that, and now I'm going to go take my bucket tool and put in my beak, and then grab back, grab my big black arrow. And right now this is in the front because I just made it last. But what I want to do is I'm going to bring this forward. And it basically goes above it. Now for the eye, I'm just going to make it a very simple dot. I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool. I'm going to boost up the size. And then over here, it usually gives you a sample. I'm going to go change my color to black. I'll turn the brightness all the way down. When it goes all the way down, I'm now going to be able to see an example of what the eye would look like. So I'm going to keep it at that size and just do a quick tap, so basically it's just like a dot. So basically now that's done. Now for the legs, I'm going to go back to the line tool after going from the black tool, because the black tool kind of deactivates anything that you're actually trying to use. I'm going to take one line, I'm going to go drag it. I'm trying to keep them as short as possible. Excellent. If you finished yours, excellent. What do you mean the whole actual coding and everything else? If you've done that, then wow, awesome. Okay. So now I've got mines. I'm going to rename it. Don't forget to, you always want to rename all your assets. Flappy Bird. Now in the actual background, I'm going to change its scale. I'm going to change it to about 35%. So that's how you'll show up on screen. I'm not affecting anything on my actual main over here because basically I want to keep that clear. Maybe it's a little too small, so I'm going to just maybe make it about 1%. And that's where this is in your sprite, but then you go into the size. That's affecting the scale. So now we're going to jump a little bit forward to like the actual coding. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to jump when I press my events. So I'm going to go to my event, which is like when the green flag is clicked. I'm going to drop the green flag. Then I'm going to go to my control because I want to set this as something that is going to go forever. And I don't want it to change regardless of what other programs are going on or what other steps that I've programmed in. This is going to continue to be the only constant that I have. So basically I'm going to go dragon forever. Okay, then I'm going to grab the if then, and that is going to be if I want to be react to my mouse. So I'm going to, and that's all the forever and the if then are found in control. Then I'm going to go to my sensing. Then I'm going to go to, when the mouse is down, I'm going to grab that. So we want the bird to be affected by gravity. So we're going to create a variable. This is what we're going to create for our actual gravity. This is what we're going to use to actually set our gravity for our actual Flappy Bird and everything else that we want it to do. So we're going to go to make a variable. And then we're going to name this My keyboard's acting up. Okay, Y velocity. Yes, I'm not on screen today because I just want everybody to be able to see as much as possible the actual code that I'm going through, so you guys won't have to worry about that. So I'm going to call it. I accidentally exited out. I'm going to make this only for this sprite. So what we're going to program in is we're going to be changing the Y velocity of it. Let me just see if I can rename it. I'm going to set it to 0, so basically whatever variable I've programmed in, and I'm going to now plug that in. And then I wanted to go, then now I want my bird to be in a specific place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that at the start of it, it just uses what I have there. So basically, I'm going to grab the go to. So basically, right at the beginning of wherever it is, I don't know, do I want it to be just there? No, I want, yeah, I'm going to move him. So basically, I'm going to move him, say, -50. Okay, so that works. Moving 50 paces back. Or maybe I should not, because he's going to be at the beginning of the stage. Basically, I want him to, let me make it a little bit larger. Say 90. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Stop. Does anybody have any questions at this moment? I'm going to rename this, where you can go to variables as opposed to just scrolling down. And now the one that I have, I'm going to now right click, go on a Mac, it's a little different, and then rename it. I'm going to say change in Y. Okay, so now I'm then going to go to the motion blocks, and then I'm going to go to change y by 10, because y is our up and down axis. It's basically what goes up and what comes down. So and what I want it to do is every time you get through like a pipe, it's going to make it even harder to actually be able to it's going to change the variable in terms of what force is acting on it by 10. Then I'm going to now take my change in y and I'm going to place it where you see that 10. Okay, we already got that, so I don't need it. And now I'm going to go to change set, which is in variables, but that's already pre-made. I'm going to go put that into the mouse, and I'm going to say, okay, change. So I'm going to delete this one because I don't need that. I'm going to say I want to change it by 5. So now when I turn on this code, every time I click the mouse, when the mouse is down, now this is going to be a little harder if you have a Mac because Macs don't necessarily have a mouse. Okay, so Jerry Lou, your question? Okay, remember I cannot quite hear you, so if you could just like if anybody's got any questions. Now if you click and if you got a mouse, then it's going to actually go up. If you don't, then basically it's going to be different. So now what we're going to do, let me see. Okay, yeah, so once I started the whole game, then it actually, okay, so I'm going to stop that. So start your whole game by hitting the green flag, and then now every time you click your mouse, it'll go up. Like you click your mouse and it'll actually react and it'll go up. So I'm going to hit my green flag because I want that to go back to the position I had it before. I hit stop, so basically I can continue. So now we're going to go to we're going to create our backdrops by creating sprites, because these are going to be the randomized sprites that we're going to use. Now we're going to use this by going to the paintbrush tool. And then basically in the paintbrush tool, then we're going to create our different pipes. Now we're going to go to sprites, then we're going to go, I'm just going to name them pipe obstacles. Okay, my keyboard is not working how I want it to. Actually, I'll change to pipe objects. Okay, you change Y by changing Y. It's the way you do it is the code is actually doing that for you. Let me just. Okay, so the change in Y, although the up and down in terms of like the code and everything else, is, let me pull up the code. So what the code is doing is, like, if you're like Y is 0, so basically there should be like a cross section, like if you were to split your screen into 4 equal parts. In the middle, Y is 0 and X is 0, so that's your dead center. So basically what the program is doing and what we're saying we want the set change to be is whenever it's clicked, or we could even change the variable to like 0, is going to randomize. Like if I set it to 1, then it's going to change it by 1 of what we've already told it to do. If I set it to like 0, then it now randomizes the actual code and it allows it to be able to go up and down, and it's be able to drop. Okay, excellent. Anybody else got some questions? The coordinate plane, yes, that is actually a term that originally was taken from maps, like like if you look at an old map, like if you go to a museum, there's usually these very weird coordinates all along. Like if you look, there's all these coordinates along the side and also along the edge. There's the x-axis, which is usually just numbers that go up to 0 in the center, then all the way out, and then the y-axis where numbers go from 0 all the way up. And basically, based on how close those lines on the map are interjected, actually tells about the degree of slope. And this is using a lot of that same information. So now we're going to go to our second sprite, which is called our object, and we're going to now customize it. What we're going to do is, obviously, we're going to create the pipe. So basically, the pipe is so we're going to take our rectangle. We're going to keep it. We're going to change the fill to the green, if everybody remembers. I'm going to change the darkness up, so basically I can see my colors again. Okay, so got that. And then my fill I'm going to keep. Then I'm going to change the thickness of it to about a 2. I'm then going to get my rectangular box, and I'm just going to make February members, the Flappy Bird pipes. I'll make that a little thick. The line's a little bit, the outline a little bit thicker. Okay. And now I'll make another one. Okay, so we just had a little bit of a glitch. Hopefully everybody was able to see what we're doing now. That's if you have a mouse. Like if you don't have a mouse, you're gonna have to first start the whole program, then basically then you'll be able to test it out like that. Now I'm going to go to the big tool because I want to modify the shape that I created because I made that a little too big. Now I'm going to group this because I just want it to be an even shape. And then I can then be duplicating all these different costumes because you want to be able to randomize it. And then I'll change the various shapes for it. Obviously, I am going to also relabel. I'm going to be like pipe. Then I'm going to change these up. I only have one. It's a little bit short. Okay, that's okay. Okay, so that's the first sprite. And then also then duplicate this sprite because the second sprite I'd actually be turning everything upside down. So I'd flip it. So I just to save myself work, I then just hit flip, flip. Yeah, I need to even out to make it consistent in terms of the actual lid. Right here. Now, one thing I'm going to work on is when it switches to this second costume, I need to make sure that its positioning is where it should be. Like if you scroll down in the box, where you see the custom, you can use your arrows to actually move. Try as much to not I'm using the arrows to make incremental moves because it's just a lot easier. Okay, if you want to group, I'm going to show it again. You're going to, you see both your triangles. What you're going to do is going to take the big black arrow. You're then going to take it on the side of it. You're then going to grab that and you're going to see a very big triangle open up. That's gonna it's going to be a triangle that you can't quite see because it's made of broken lines. And when you let go, it's going to have selected both. From there, at the very top, right where you renamed your costume, you're going to look to your right. You're going to see the undo arrow. You're going to see another redo arrow. Then you're going to see group. You're then going to click group, and that's what's going to allow you to be able to group them. You're going to hit group. If you want to ungroup it, like if you want to undo it, fix it, or whatever else, then you're going to hit ungroup. But then for now, we're going to hit group. Okay, I need to fix that. That was ungrouped. Now I hit group. And now I'm moving it down. And the whole time I'm actually just staring at the side. I'm staring at my main screen to see where it is. Now I'm going to add in a background. So now the background, which is easiest to use, I'm actually not gonna create one. I'm just gonna choose the one which is already here. Like there's the blue sky. Nice and easy. Now I'm gonna modify a few things to it in terms of basically I want these mounds a little lower. So I'm going to choose, I'm gonna click on it, then I'm gonna hold down Shift. That doesn't matter whether you're in PC or Mac. I'm gonna hit down Shift. So select. And then now I can actually change all of these by that amount. So I'm going to drag that down. And then I'm going to drag this down. So basically keeps that even. I'm going to change the color of this. I'm going to set it to a fill. Yes, that's what it's supposed to do. If you have a mouse, it is supposed to go up. We are going to program for the mouse to kind of drop. That is our next step. I don't want this in front. No, I want this to be over there where it is. So we've got our background. Now we're going to go back and we're going to add in the element. I don't like how my bird looks. I'm going to change that thickness to a little bit more. Oh, also, what happens if you group things? Whatever changes you can make it uniformly. Yeah, I get too many clicks. I guess that's going to work. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the code. And in the code, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change. I'm going to add in like what I want it to change to. So I'm going to go to change y, and I'm going to set it in my forever, but I'm going to set it underneath my change y by. So basically, I'm going to change. I'm going to grab my change y because I want it to act as if there's gravity on it. So basically, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to set it over, under. I'm going to say by point because I don't want it to be too dramatic. So basically, I'm going to be like point minus because basically gravity goes down. Anything that's negative is what's going down along the y-axis. Let's say 0.8. And now I'm going to hit play. Now you see every time I click, it goes up, but then there's gravity always working on it. So basically, so I'm going to have to set the ground. And I'm going to slow that down even more. Jeez, that's kind of dramatic. So, They don't like my gravity being that strong. Let me see. That's gonna make it really hard. And then now, hmm, so every time I click, it's going to have it go up, but then there's going to be gravity affecting it, and it's going to be randomized, and it's going to get stronger and stronger after I change up the code. So that's how we've now added our gravity. So when you hit the green flag, automatically your bird is already going to start dropping. Now, if we get to that point, if everybody remembers, we are going to have a start screen. So basically the start screen, we're going to have our character obviously in a fixed position. This character may be secondary, or we'll just set. We'll be changing up like the green flag to like when the background changes to, and then it's going to set the character and all of that kind of stuff. So we've got our gravity, and we're changing our y-axis. So basically, we have it now hopping up. Now I can set an animation. So basically, it looks a little bit cuter when I click it. So basically, it switches between the two, but I'm not going to do that yet. I have my two blocks. At this time, does anybody have any questions? Is everybody at the same point? I'm sure some people are already a little bit further. Let me change my background a little bit more. Yeah, we haven't programmed in how to move the bird left to right yet. Right now, we're just creating our assets and we're doing coding at the same time because because before people kind of like, oh, I'm doing a lot of assets. Now I want to just allow people to be able to do a lot of coding space. They can jump into that, and also we're going to get to the point where we're going to be able to have it go from left to right, or you can make it go backwards if you want to. No, you're gonna randomize the actual response of the actual pipes. So one thing that's going to be key for this is when we're now coating the pipes, is we don't want it to show right at the beginning. So we're going to take our green flag right at the top of events. Then we're going to go to looks, and then we're going to have it hide. Hide is near the bottom of looks. Then we're going to go back to our controls because we want this to set as forever, because this is what it's going to be constantly running. I'm going to go back to events. And then we're going to make sure that it creates clones. What that's going to do is going to allow us to have our randomizations. Basically, all of our things are appearing. It's not the start create. It's not when I start as clone. You're going to go to create clone of myself. You're going to put that in the forever loop. And then I'm now going to put in clone, and the base going to say we want to show. So now we're going to create another variable. Any questions? We're only setting it for this sprite. And then what we're going to do with this sprite, we're going to change some of our costume names. I'm going to call this top. Oh no, I'm going to say, I'm going to keep most of it. Pipe. Top. I'm going to flip one. Let me just copy these. I'm going to copy this. Good. Leave it to show. So this. Okay. No, I did not mean to do that. Okay. We are coming to the end of the regular time, but I want to still continue on with the programming and everything else. Right now, I just want to get us to get to more of the code. You've already gone through, and you can also play back what we did in terms of rolling things back. So basically, you could actually be able to change some of the other subjects and everything else. And if anybody has any questions in terms of basically what I'm doing, how I'm doing it at this time, just please go ahead and ask. And this is specifically time for you. So, as I already stated, this is already in the end of regulation time, but I am going to keep on going until 2:30. So, if you want to continue following on, you can. And then basically we'll just go and we'll build up more in terms of what we want to do with the code and basically how we're going to move around the objects and everything else, and how to make the background fancy and keep it going fancy. Okay, so where did I put my code? Oh, that's the beginning. Okay, so we're gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to our code. What I'm doing is I'm setting up variables to actually code for the different costumes. I'm gonna actually have to change the namespace so it recognizes them. So it'll be easier. So what I'm setting now is I'm setting up all the variables in terms of what I wanted to switch to. I'm then going to go to operators. In operators, I'm going to I'm going to take the one which is equal to 50. I'm going to drag and drop that space. It's like a 50-50 chance of um, 50-50 chance of it actually going into it. And I'm going to go to my variables. I'm going to say if it's equal to, I'm going to take my bottom and top variable. And then I'm going to go to looks for that sprite. I want to make it, I want it to switch. So I'm going to say switch costume. And I'm going to have to make sure that I change up some of my naming. And then if else means that if it's a different variable, then it's going to switch the costume. I'm going to take my switched costume to top. Now I'd have to fix the costumes. As you can see, it's because I haven't started it the right way, because it's just duplicating and cloning it all at the same time. And then I'm going to now set I'm going to go to motion, but I'm going to use when it says go to. Basically, I'm setting it where I want it to go. So basically, I'm going to say go to. Let me say this. Go to a different one. I'm going to zoom out because I cannot reach some of my code because all over the place. And I'll hit stop. No. You're duplicating it for you're setting a clone, and what I've set is I've set the clone just to the same position. As you can see, my pipes have spawned. Now it's like I need to change it. At this point, does anybody have any questions? Like the reason why my clones did not go to the same place because I did not give them the same X position. Like if I put this at 236, and then I change my Y position to, I'm gonna make it a little bit, make the top a little bit higher. So I make that 50, make my bottom one. Actually, I need to get a little closer to. So, there you go. And leave it out there. And then let me first put this. Zoom in. I'm gonna worry about having all that removed at the end. So you got that. So now I'm going to set the code where I want it to actually delete itself while we're going. For those that are still on, how I got the bottom pipe to disappear is basically I set them to clone. Like if you look at the code that I have, I've actually set it to I've set it to show only when it's cloned. When the other one on the top, and I've only chosen the one. Like this one is another one which I have, but then I've actually just set that to invisible. So this is the bottom one which I originally had, and then I just hit the when you look at show right underneath the name of it, and I need to name that better. And then just hit the other arrow with the I crossed out, and then it eliminates that. So basically it's just disappeared. I haven't coded anything for that. This is the sprite which has most of the coding. This I might just set as another obstacle for difficulty. Because I'm going to keep that. But right now I set it to when it's clicked, it hides, but it clones itself. So you can see where this is still where it is, but then the clones actually appearing a little bit further away. So basically that's going to be creating our animation, because basically it's like, as we're also then going to get into like the deleting itself. So now that we want them to, we're going to go grab another control because we want these to disappear. I'm going to go to another control, and I'm going to say repeat, and then we're going to go look for repeat until, and this is within the controls. And we're going to go to operator, and we're going to choose like an operator. We're going to choose like when it's greater than a certain distance. So basically when it's greater than 50. And then I'm going to go to motion, and I'm going to grab the X position. I'm going to scroll down. Then we're going to ask it to delete itself. Now, the reason why I put that negative position is means that as these are moving, it's going to reach right here, which is going to be our negative zone, because in the center is 0, 0. So if I use the Flappy bird to kind of highlight itself, I'll now change the position to like 0, 0. 0. And then I'll change this. to 0. That's the dead center of it. So basically now when I hit when you have 237, that's basically measured by pixels, is then going to delete itself, but I need to set the code for it. So basically right now I'm setting that code and going to back to my controls. Then I'm going to go to, yeah, there we go. Delete this clone. I'm going to set it underneath because I haven't set the motion yet, because basically it's going to be going from one space to another. Then I'm going to go to my motion. I'm going to say I want the X position of it to change by, so basically that's it within my motion. I'm going to say -5 because remember this is positive, so if I have it on plus, it's going to move forward. I want it to be able to move from right to left. So basically I'm going to say by -10. Or, that might be a little fast. Let me see, -5. Right now I have either I have just too many costumes, so I need to reduce the amount of costumes that I have. So I'm going to go here, delete. It's cloning itself too fast. Okay, so anybody else? Okay, how did you get? Okay. Yes, it is way too much. Or what do you mean? Are there any last notes or any last questions in this final 5 minutes? Yeah, I can add pauses. I'm going to get all that sorted out. No, right now we're now going to just wrap down. So do you have any specific questions like with your code, how to create things, how to make things move, how to make them go? I can add a delay, so there's a few ways to do it. You can add in a delay. So let's just say I'll go to my control events. I'm going to say wait like 1 second. You see how it creates that little pause? So basically I could say wait 5 seconds. Stop. And then I could actually add waits in between. So I'm now going to add this and take this down to like 1. And then now we should have like 3 second delays. And there's multiple different ways that as we adjust the code and as we change the code that we can actually produce the different results. Like there's no one different way. Well, the screen scrolling is actually just an effect. That is something that is created by elements that are moving, but the screen that you're actually staring at is static. That's something that we're going to be also covering in Python. We're actually going to code a drag like a fireball, like if you've ever played Street Fighter or played Mega Man or a few other action games, where the person fires a fireball, like what that code actually is and what it looks like. That's actually just like turtle code, but it's attached to like a graphic, like a GIF or something else like that. Okay, so thank you for thank you so much for coming in today and being a part of the Catholic community. As mentioned before, you can continue to learn with us at our Montgomery County location and our Howard County location this summer. Um, if you do it this week we have the Steam Stream 18 discount for 18% off the summer camps. So basically, that's the Steam Stream 18 discount for summer camps coming up. This is very important. Like, leave a like and subscribe. That helps us out. And also hit that notification bell so you can actually get be alerted when we actually have other posts up. With this, something that we're going to be continuing and growing, and something that we're going to be using as a tool. Not and also some of our young students, once they've actually learned to edit and produce some of their things on YouTube, will actually be able to post up, and you'll be able to get those notification bells on their content, their interviews of teachers or of individuals that we can have on stream and everything else. Once again, Steam Stream 18 for the 18% discount off for summer camps, and leave a like and subscribe. Thank you very, very much. As always, stay safe. Practice safe practices. We look forward to when all of this is done, and we are all back together, and we're learning and encouraging each other. So thank you. Bye.